you're watching this video right now and you've just relapsed, I want you to know that you're not a failure. You are not pathetic. You are not an addict. You are not going to be stuck like this. This is not a permanent thing. This is temporary. This is a temporary setback on your journey. I want you to understand that if you're doing this, if you're watching this video and you're on this journey, if you're trying to quit this addiction, if you're trying to retain your energy, you're doing something that 99.9% of men and women will never even attempt to do, will never even have the strength to do. Just the fact that you're on this journey, you are strong. You should be proud of yourself. And I want you to understand that a relapse is not a bad thing. I want us to get rid of that terminology, relapse. That implies that we failed, that we've done something wrong. No, instead, you took a L. And when I say L, I mean lesson. I mean learning experience. Every time you take an L, that's an opportunity for you to learn. If you're watching this video right now and you've just relapsed, I want you to know that you're not a failure. You are not pathetic. You are not an addict. You are not going to be stuck like this. This is not a permanent thing. This is temporary. This is a temporary setback on your journey. I want you to understand that if you're doing this, if you're watching this video and you're on this journey, if you're trying to quit this addiction, if you're trying to retain your energy, you're doing something that 99.9% of men and women will never even attempt to do, will never even have the strength to do. Just the fact that you're on this journey, you are strong. You should be proud of yourself. And I want you to understand that a relapse is not a bad thing. I want us to get rid of that terminology, relapse. That implies that we failed, that we've done something wrong. No, instead, you took a L. And when I say L, I mean lesson. I mean learning experience. Every time you take an L, that's an opportunity for you to learn. Every time you relapse, that's an opportunity to learn. I'll be honest, I relapsed recently. I slipped up. In the past, I would have spiraled and I would have beat myself up and I would have just judged myself and been so harsh to myself. But over time, I started to realize that that isn't the answer. Beating yourself up and hating yourself for continuing to slip up is not the answer. We trained our brains and our bodies to be addicted to this stuff, to be hooked on this stuff. Most likely from a young age, we've all had access to this stuff from a very young age. So if we want to get rid of it, it's going to take time. Now, I've been on this journey for a while now. I've been on this journey for about 9 years now. You know, I've had plenty of long streaks. I've had plenty of rewiring, but even now, it still happens. It still happens from time to time. You slip up, you're living a really healthy lifestyle, you're sleeping well, you're eating well, you're meditating every day, you're letting all that energy that you're retaining, you're letting it flow freely through you. It's not just getting stuck in your lower centers and the lower areas of your body, right? You're bringing your awareness throughout your whole body and you're doing breath work and whatnot. But every once in a while, it still happens. And you get to a point where you know your triggers, you know what situation, what circumstances are going to trigger you. You're going to find at a certain point that you might keep ending up in those situations. You keep ending up in the same situations that trigger you to relapse, whether that's being alone late at night, whether that's being in a certain room, whether that's feeling a certain emotion. And what I came to realize through relapsing and being present and being conscious while I relapsed, just watching my actions, watching my body's actions, watching my emotions, watching all the thoughts that I was having, I realized that I can't blame any external factors. I can't blame any sort of substances. Some people I know, it's when they're drunk or when they're high, and it's easy to just blame those substances and cut them out completely, and that is a good thing, you know, if you don't want that in your life anymore. But what I realized is that it's none of those external things. It's you, right? It's us. It's always us choosing to relapse, choosing to slip up. It's always us making that decision. And that might seem scary, but it's actually a very powerful thing when you realize you are in control of your actions. It might seem like your body and your brain are just going on autopilot. You're just looking at this stuff, releasing all your seed, releasing all your energy, and then not feeling good and wondering why you're stuck in the same cycle. But when you spend time paying attention to how you feel when you relapse, when you're conscious, vividly conscious, you taste the poison when you relapse, you realize we can choose differently. We, deep down, there's a part of us that is still choosing to do that, that hasn't fully let go of that. There's a part of us that still thinks that engaging in that kind of content, that consuming that content, that releasing our energy is fun. There's a part of our brains that still thinks it's fun, that still desires to do it. And so when you realize that, now the opportunity comes to confront that part of us. See, we're going to keep making the same mistakes over and over if we don't confront the parts of us that are making that mistake. There's a part of us, if we're stuck now doing the same activity over and over, there's a part of us that wants to keep doing it. And we need to confront that part of us. Why do we keep doing it? What emotional blockages are there? What internal shame or guilt do we have? What circumstances and triggers are leading up to it? And why do we keep putting ourselves in the same position? For me, it's always when I get high. It's if I get high by myself, right? And so I had to cut that stuff out because I know that for me, if I do that by myself, then it's going to be a trigger. You know, your inhibitions are lower, your awareness is lower. But what I realize is that I can blame that outside substance all I want, but really it's me. Really it's me doing those things. Really it's me choosing to consume that and then using it as an excuse as to why I'm slipping up, as to why I'm relapsing. But it's me choosing to do that deep down, and I need to take responsibility for that. When we realize that we are in control of our reality, that we can make decisions, we can choose differently, we can choose the life that we want to live, everything changes. And that's the most powerful realization that we can have, is that you are in control. This addiction, this substance, it does not control you. It does not control you. You are in control. No matter how out of control it might seem, you are in control. And when those urges hit, when those temptations hit, when those cravings hit, you can watch them. You might still give in, but you can watch them and you can start to see the patterns. What happens to your body? Do certain muscles start tensing up? Do you start squeezing, maybe in your forehead, maybe in your core, maybe in your hips, somewhere gets tight? Does your head start hurting? Do you start getting tension in your head? Pay attention to these little signs. What kind of thoughts are running through your head? What kind of mental gymnastics might your brain be doing to get that high, to get that dopamine hit that we've trained it to want to get? We've trained it over years and years and years to keep getting these excessive dopamine highs. So what are the factors that lead up to that? Pay attention. Even if you're relapsing, be conscious, right? Taste the poison, because this substance, this addiction, it promises to be sweet, but it's actually bitter. It's actually poisonous. And we have to let go of any romanticization of it. You know, maybe in the past, it used to be enjoyable. I know for me, when I was in high school and I was consuming this stuff all the time, I never thought it was bad. I did it all the time. And I thought it was great. I thought it was fine. I didn't think anything of it. But you know what I was also doing was I was consuming Taco Bell and McDonald's every single day. And I didn't think that stuff was bad for me either. Then once I started eating healthier foods and losing weight and actually rewiring my brain to crave regular food again, regular whole foods, healthy, natural foods, then I went back and I ate the Taco Bell again. I ate the McDonald's again. I realized this is disgusting. I can't believe I was putting this garbage in my body, this fake food in my body. And it's the same way when you have been retaining for a while. Maybe you've gone on a long streak. Maybe you've just spent more and more time away from the corn, and you have gotten your brain and your nervous system and your body to rewire to some extent, and then you slip up. You relapse. And when you're conscious of it, you realize, wait a minute, this doesn't feel good anymore. You're just holding on to an old version of you, an old lifestyle, an old habit, but it doesn't actually feel good anymore. It doesn't actually serve you anymore. So why are you still doing it? Remember, you are in control and you can choose differently. You don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. You don't have to keep making the same decisions. Just do your best. That's all I can ask. You might relapse again and again and again and again and again after watching this video. Again, those are not bad things. Those are all lessons. Those are all learning experiences. What lessons do you need to learn? What changes do you need to make? Maybe for you, it's also an outside substance. Maybe you need to throw the weed away. Maybe you need to throw the alcohol away. Maybe you just need to get rid of it, get it all out of the house. Maybe you need to start going to bed earlier. Maybe you need an accountability partner. Maybe you need to tell someone about this. Maybe when those cravings or those urges hit, this is something that helped me a lot. You meditate, you breathe, you take some deep breaths, right? Through the diaphragm, right below the rib cage, and just let all the air fill all the way up to the chest, right? Because what this does is taking that deep breath, it gets you present again. When urges or cravings hit, you're craving the dopamine high. You start to get in your head. You start to lose sight of reality around you. But what deep breathing does, it brings you back to the present moment. It brings you back to your body. It gets you out of your head. It brings you back to where your feet are, grounded in the moment. It creates space and lets all this energy, all this sexual energy flow through you instead of getting stuck and then feeling like the only way to move forward is to get it out because it's building up and it's too much and you can't handle it. It's like when Goku and Vegeta were trying to go Super Saiyan Blue and they were training saying they couldn't handle all the energy at first. They had to build up all this divine energy so they could go Super Saiyan Blue. But at first they couldn't handle all the energy, so they couldn't transform. And then even when they started to transform a little bit, they couldn't hold on to very long. It took them time. It took them a lot of practice, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of failures. But those failures were their greatest teachers. And in the same way, we're trying to hold on to our divine essence. We're trying to hold on to our sexual energy. Sexual energy is powerful, and it's not something that we should just waste. Pixels on a screen on something that doesn't make us feel good. The pixels on the screen, it doesn't make me feel good. Like I don't like it, you know. It's not something that I want to do. But there's been this part of me that has still been going forward and doing the same actions, the same habits that lead me into relapse. And so part of holding yourself accountable is understanding that this needs to become a whole lifestyle. It needs to become a whole lifestyle change. I can't be the same person that I was, right? We can't, if we want to live a new lifestyle free of this habit, free of this addiction, we can't be the same people that we were before. We can't be doing the exact same things and having the exact same habits. We need to do something differently. We need to bring our awareness back to the present. Because what happens is when we go into that mode, right? Cravings take over. You're mindless. It's like you're mindlessly scrolling. You're just on autopilot. You're not thinking. You're unconscious. And so by bringing consciousness into it, you start to really see and unravel all the little details of what's going on. You start to see all the different movement patterns physically and emotionally. You could start to dissect and break down and interrupt the pattern instead of just going on autopilot and going straight onto your phone, onto the websites, and doing what you don't really want to do and wasting your energy and then feeling bad about yourself afterwards and beating yourself up and judging yourself. We don't want to judge ourselves anymore. We just want to live. We just want to live and enjoy being peaceful and holding on to our energy and not wasting it on pixels on a screen and not being controlled by that nonsense anymore. Ultimately, it comes down to you. You have to make the decision. You have to choose every single day. Which version of me do I want to be? Which life do I want to live? Do I want to keep making the same mistakes and I know where that road goes down? It might feel good in the moment, or at least I think it feels good in the moment. But if I'm conscious, I realize it doesn't even feel good in the moment, and it especially doesn't feel good afterwards. Or do I want to deal with some slight discomfort? Just let the cravings, let the urges hit you for a little bit. Because remember, those are temporary. They will pass. Take some deep breaths and just let it go. Let it flow through you. It's just like meditation. You don't get caught up in all the thoughts. You see them, you observe them, you acknowledge them, and then you let them go. Which version of yourself do you want to be? That's all I have for you today. Wish you best of luck in your journey, and I will be making more content about this topic. A bit more of a serious tone today, but this is a serious issue for a lot of people, and I want to make sure that we're taking responsibility for our own lives. All right, thank you all for watching. Leave a comment if this helped you, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.